This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for July 6th, 2020. I would remind you that this meeting is being conducted entirely via electronic means and not City Hall. We're at City Hall. May I have a roll call, please? Alderman Eschauer?
Here.
Alderman Berry?
Here.
City here? Yes. Alderman Vivier?
Here.
Alderman Davalos?
Here.
Alderman Goodman?
Here.
Alderman Kreschel?
Here.
Alderman Widener?
Here.
Alderman Wilson?
Here.
Treasurer Brenner?
Here.
City Attorney Lenneman?
Here.
Chief Toronto?
Here.
Finance Director Dahlstrand?
Here.
Community Development Director Menzer?
Here.
And Deputy Public Works Director Kupler?
Here.
Thank you, Emily. We've been doing the Pledge of Allegiance silently. I will say it out loud and ask you to follow along silently with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're at part of our meeting where we have citizens' comments. We'll now hear any verbal or written comments from the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please announce yourself with your name and address. Won't be necessary. I know both of you. Please speak slowly and clearly so we can capture your information. And I will, as we have done in the past, call you up to the podium. Emailed comments are scheduled to be written aloud following the verbal comments. So far, we have no email comments for this evening. And then once we conclude the citizen comments portion of the meeting, there will be not another opportunity for the public to comment. So we'll begin this evening with Mr. Bob Siebert.
Where should I hold it, please?
Take it over there. I guess hold it behind you so that it faces the right. So it faces the laptop, and then people will be able to see it. That should work.
Should work. Okay. Bob Siebert, Albright Court. This is a picture of the area by Route 59, Route 56, and Ferry Road during the late 1970s. In the corner here, you see the Wilger Farm, which is gone now. This was right at the corner of Route 59 and the Prairie Path. You see Albright Court is this area here. My house is the last house in this area. Across the street, Kellers had not yet built their second house. This is the area Kellers were on Town Line. They raised horses and also German Shepherds. In the back here, you can see Stewart's house. In the back here, this line is Point Oak Drive without any houses. What was being developed. All of the farmland here goes to Ferry Road. This area here is a turn, which was kind of a 60-degree at Ferry in 59, but it was a 2-lane highway. The interesting point why this is a benchmark, this shows the actual drainage of this whole area, and the drainage of this area goes down, as you're going in here, right to this area here, which is the creek. So all of the water west of 59 would go under 59, cross down, and then go towards the creek. The interesting point is at the corner here, 59 and the Prairie Path, there's two 3-foot culverts that go under the Prairie Path. There's under Route 59 about a 8-foot square inlet coming from the west side. The water used to split where it would come on this area where the new development is, and then some would go towards the Wilgers farm. In this aerial view, you can see dark brown spots. These dark brown spots are where the water is. This shows you that the water was sheeting from the Prairie Path down here, and it goes into this area here, which was a wetland at the end. That's just about across from where my property is. Then the water would continue on the north side of the Prairie Path. At this point here, just about the third house in on Albright Court, there's a pipe underneath the Prairie Path. John Case, who used to be the county chairman, when it would rain, he'd come by, wave to me, he'd come out here and dig around the pipe to make sure the water would go under the pipe there, it would go down the road here and get to the creek. He farmed the area up here, and you had to make sure that his crop wasn't going to have wet feet. This particular area here, directly behind my property, is, at that time, was Freemanus's, 6 acres. You can see that they cut the whole property, the grass, everything was cut to my property and then along the Prairie Path. There was no water there. The trees behind my property all the way back down to Wilgers were very good trees. All the way down this side of the Prairie Path, there was no water. The key element that established this is here by Wilgers property. There's about a 20-foot green swale that took the water down to where Mulinsky's house is on Point Oak Drive, and then it would go down to the creek. So there was a method here of getting the water from under 59 to the creek, getting it out, sheeting it on both sides, and all of the land. This is a Conforti's property here on the other side of Fremantis. All the land was dry. What has occurred in 2020 is that from the back edge of my property, 40 to 60 feet, starting at the far east edge of my property, when it rains, is water. 40 to 60 feet, goes all the way down. It is killing the trees. It is like a bayou that has been constructed here. Even the coyotes, the wild turkeys, the deer, and the foxes can't get through here. It was never that way. We never had water. And I've been there 44 years. Now we have water. And it isn't water just behind my house. It is water all the way down where they have that. This is 40 to 60 feet. And when you see this, the trees are falling down. Everything is breaking down there. It's also lowered and taking the soil, some of the soil away. So the question is, why is this happening? It's a combination. And it's a combination of items which include violations of the state of Illinois and DuPage County stormwater provisions that were not adhered to. So in 2 weeks, I will tell you why this has occurred. The water is there. If anybody wants to go down and see it, you can walk down on the prairie path, you're able to see the destruction that has occurred. It isn't a pretty sight. It looks like a tornado went through. I've lost trees at the back of my yard because of water. Trees do not like wet feet. They have a lot of wet feet. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Hoffman?
Hello, Michael Hoffman, 3 South 436 2nd Street. I'm just here to clear up the record. I got a copy of the mayor's column here. Now, I don't know if you write this or if staff writes it for you, but I'd like to correct the record on it because it says there was no homes or businesses flooded. I don't know about the businesses.
Mike, could you pick up the microphone, please?
I don't know about the businesses. It says here that there's been no homes or businesses flooded due to the river, and that's not a true statement. That's not a true statement at all. In the last rain event, which was, I believe, about 3 inches over 3 days, which is not a huge event, I got water in my house twice. First time, the first rain we had, they opened up the gates. The river didn't start flooding until they closed the gates. Once they opened up the gates, the river had almost receded all the way back into its banks. And then we had another rain that night. They closed the gates. The house flooded again, even worse than the first time. The first time I had about 6 inches, and the second time I had 8 inches of it. They opened the gates, the river recedes again. There needs to be something done. That's just a little too 3-inch rain, and I don't care if that happened in a day or if it happened in 2 days or 3 days. It's still a little rain, and it only shows that we have another 100-year flood. A real 100-year flood or 200-year flood. This whole town's in serious condition and in bad shape. I mean, you look at I go over all the stuff, but let's just show them to you and I can understand. But if I can get 6 to 8 inches in my house on a 3-inch rain over 3 days because they're operating the gates, there's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Are there any callers on the line that wish to speak this evening? Okay, I guess not. We'll move on then to official and staff comments for this evening. A few things that I have to share. First of all, as we learn to function within phase 4 of the Restore Illinois plan, we realize that in-person meetings are not yet feasible. For now, City Council, Board, Commission, and Committee meetings will continue to be conducted virtually. However, depending on the number of staff members present, up to 17 members of the public can be in attendance at City Hall to view these meetings. Public comments from persons present will be heard at the appropriate time on the agenda. Email comments received prior to the meeting will also continue to be accepted. Another announcement, I'm working with the city staff on the creation of a Community Relations Commission. The intent is to expand our efforts to implement the city's strategic plan goal number 6, diversity, with a mission to promote inclusiveness, fair treatment, and human dignity for all residents, and to ensure that Warrenville is a welcoming and open community for all people. I welcome your ideas, your suggestions, questions, or concerns. Please email me at davidbrummel@warrenville.il.us. if you wish to contribute or would be interested in serving on this commission. It's my intention to have something to present to the City Council by this coming fall. And news about City Hall. City Hall and the Police Department building are open to the public on a limited basis. Face coverings and social distancing are required. Only the Manning Avenue entrance to City Hall is open. The hours for each facility may vary, so please check the city website for updates. July 4th was the end of the Mayor's Fitness Challenge for this year. Remember to log in all your minutes for the past 8 weeks. T-shirts will be awarded to those who completed 1,200 minutes, and special awards will be given to those who beat the Mayor's minutes and logged the most minutes in their age and gender groups. Thank you all for participating. And Larry Brenner, you had about twice the number of minutes I have. Well done. I would like to ask Chief Toronto to give a brief report of the weekend and our adventures with illegal fireworks. Chief, if you would, please.
Thanks, Mayor. So you know, we started our enforcement detail on the 26th of June, and up till 9 o'clock this morning, we had over 50, I think it was 58 calls to the dispatch center for fireworks and loud noise related complaints. Last night between 9 and 11, DUCOM reached maximum capacity with call taking, and they had over 4 times the normal amount of calls that they got on the 4th of July. They received nearly 1,000 calls in those 2 hours between 9 and 11. So this was something that was going on throughout the suburbs. There were reports of fires that were started in Naperville, Bloomingdale, and Lombard. Unfortunately, we did not have anything like that in Warrenville. However, there was a proliferation of fireworks that went on. That being said, our officers did issue 11 citations for improper use or display of fireworks, and all of those incidents, they were self-initiated by the officers. As you can see, they were out there. They were busy. They were active. We had devised a strategy to try and, if nothing else, make our presence more known in the neighborhoods, and this was reflected in comments that were seen on Facebook by residents that posted these. So again, I think that this year was probably worse than in previous years because of the lack of fireworks displays that were held in individual communities and fireworks celebrations that were available to the public that were legally done. There was also an article on the news, I think it was Channel 7 last week, that the sales of illegal fireworks in Indiana and Wisconsin that are available to Illinois residents had boomed in this last year. So that's all I have to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I know you were very active, and there was probably people forgot what they learned the last couple of years when we had good progress in curtailing the illegal fireworks for this year, and thank you, Department, for doing that. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
It says here that following the meeting, members of the public who are in attendance can exit using the emergency doors over there. Is that still hold, John? So, gentlemen, when you're ready to leave, you can get out that way very easily. Okay, that's all for me for this evening. Clerk.
I just want to do a public thank you to my family for helping me celebrate my birthday. They did one of those drive-by, and there were 50 cars that went by, tooted their horns, and the fire department and the police department were there. And I also had Faye Johnson there because it's her birthday too. And so we had a good day, albeit we almost fried sitting in the driveway, but it was a good day. I'm celebrating another one. Thanks.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Emily. Treasurer, Larry?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get on the tail end of that unofficial, official Warrenville 4th of July parade that went from the church down Curtis. It was a fun little short parade, but very enthusiastic citizens and kids on bicycles and gators and scooters, and it was nice. It was very nice.
Very good. Thank you. The alderman, and I don't have my list so that I do it at the same time every time. Does somebody have a list for me so that I make sure it's always the same? That for me, please. Oh, no, I've got it. Thank you. That way I won't forget anybody. Okay, for comments again, we try to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to speak, the elected officials, so I go through everyone and give them that opportunity, always beginning with Alderman Ashoff. Alderman?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Berry?
Yeah, I just want to comment also on the fireworks. I couldn't believe how many fireworks we had. I live right off the river and across the river, and either it was Renouf or I think that's Iroquois over there. They were just shooting fireworks off like crazy, and it was very loud. Normally, my dog doesn't have a problem, but he was very upset that night. And I can't believe if a dog is that upset, there's got to be people out there that have that, PTSD, must be besides themselves. So I'm kind of disappointed in the people that were doing the fireworks. And I guess some people are just very selfish. And it just really got to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Revere?
No comment.
Thank you, Alderman Diabolos?
Nothing to add tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Goodman?
Nothing to add.
Thank you, Alderman Kershaw?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Widener?
I have nothing to add, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, and Alderman Wilson?
No comments.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the city administrator. John, anything for this evening?
No, I have no comment to add tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And City Attorney Brooke, would you like to highlight any new procedures that we're having to implement?
Only that, you mentioned it, but just to mention again that the Open Meetings Act has been amended to allow for virtual meetings. One of the requirements to have a virtual meeting is that there needs to be a local determination that in-person meetings are not practical or prudent at this time. And Mayor, you have made that determination, and that's on the city's website if anybody wants to see that. With the new executive orders and a disaster proclamation from the governor, the total maximum number of people that can be gathered in one place is 50, or 50% capacity of the room. However, that capacity can be further limited when complying with social distancing requirements, which is why the city council chambers is only able to fit 17 people, because once you've properly spaced the chairs and allowed for room to circulate, that further reduces the capacity. So just to explain why you might have heard that 50 number and then hear the 17 number for the city's meeting room. So with the disaster proclamation and the mayor's local determination, the city council meetings can proceed virtually now pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. And if anyone has any questions about those new rules, feel free to ask them and I'll answer.
Okay,
thanks. No comments.
Thanks for the clarifications. Any alderman with questions for our attorney? Speak up. Go out of order this time. Okay, Brooke, I think you're off the hook. Thank you. We'll move on to approval of the agenda this evening. Alderman Widener, would you like to make the motion, please?
Certainly. I move to approve the agenda for the July 6, 2020 City Council regular meeting.
Second, Alderman Wilson.
This is Alderman Goodman. This is Alderman Goodman. I'd like to remove 6E.
E as in Edward?
That's correct.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other changes? To the motioner, seconder, I'm sorry, agree to the change?
Motioner agrees.
Second agrees.
All right, we have an agenda that has been amended for this evening. May I have a roll call, please? Alderman Ashour?
Aye.
Alderman Goodman?
Aye.
Alderman Widener?
Aye.
Alderman Revere?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Berry?
Aye.
Alderman Davalos?
Aye.
Alderman Chrisell?
Aye.
Thank you, Emily. The agenda as amended has been approved for this evening. We have several sets of minutes that need approval also. Alderman Widener, would you like to make the motion again?
Certainly. I move to approve the minutes of the June 15th, 2020 City Council regular meeting, to approve the minutes of the June 15th, 2020 City Council closed session number 1, and to approve the minutes of the June 15th, 2020 City Council closed session number 2.
Second, Alderman Davalos.
Second by Alderman Davalos, motion and a second. Any discussion of those minutes? I will just ask, should we go through the list again? We better, just to be safe. Alderman Ashour?
No comment.
Thank you, Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Thank you, Alderman Revere.
Aye.
Yeah, we're looking for comments, not for a vote.
Okay, no comment.
Yeah, comments on the minutes, any changes or anything. So Alderman Revere, no changes or comments?
No changes,
comment.
thank you.
Okay, Alderman Berry, then Alderman Davalos,
No comments.
Alderman Goodman.
Nothing.
Thank you, Alderman Chrisell,
No comment.
Alderman Widener.
I have no comment.
Thank you, and Alderman Wilson.
No comment.
Okay, then we have we need a roll call for that too, please. Alderman Berry,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Chrisell,
Aye.
Alderman Revere,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Ashour,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you again, Emily. The minutes as presented have been approved. I'll move now to the consent agenda for this evening. Item 6A, accepts Mayor Brummel's recommendation and pass resolution R2020-39, extending the duration of the March 16th, 2020 declaration of emergency until the adjournment of the next regular, special, or emergency meeting of the City Council. B, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and pass resolution R2020-40, approving and ratifying an agreement with ABI Systems for the purchase and installation of additional microphones in the City Council chambers. C, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Amy Murphy, Commissioner of the Environmental Advisory Commission, for a 3-year term set to expire April 30th, 2023. D, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Kurt Tate, Commissioner of the Bicyclist and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, for a 3-year term set to expire April 30th, 2023. F, receive and file minutes of the Board of Fire and Police Commission regular meeting held on March 26th, 2020. G, receive and file minutes of the Board of Fire and Police Commission special meeting held on March 30th, 2020. H, receive and file minutes of the Tourism and Arts Commission meeting held on May 14th, 2020. I, receive and file report of invoices paid up to July 1st, 2020 in the amount of $171,938.53. And J, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before July 20th, 2020 in the amount of $251,776.62. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor David Brummel.
Alderman Davalos, second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call then, please?
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Ashour,
Aye.
Alderman Chrisell,
Aye.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Berry,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Severe.
Aye.
Thank you. The consent agenda as amended has been approved for this evening. We will return to item 6E. Alderman Goodman, did you wish to make that motion, or did you wish someone else to do it?
I do not wish to make the motion.
Okay, would someone like to make the motion, please?
Alderman Berry, I'll make the motion. I'd like to make a motion to authorize staff to allow the current electric aggregation contract to expire and evaluate the alternative aggression program as described as option number 3 in Assistant City Administrator White's June 11, 2020 memorandum.
Second, Alderman Davalos.
Okay, motion and a second. We'll go to discussion. Alderman Goodman, would you like to make comments?
I would. I know that there's no information in the backup about this item, so I hope that everyone still has their materials from the previous meeting so that they can refer to them for this discussion. The way that this current motion is framed and the way that we would be asking staff to move forward if we approve this as it's written would essentially be to send everyone in our community a letter telling them that this program, the Municipal Electric Aggregation Program, which has been very successful, which is a perfectly functional process that's delivering to our residents what they tell us that they want, 100% renewable energy, is ending. These letters would tell everyone that they're being moved back to ComEd, and once they are moved back to ComEd, they're going to be majority non-renewable electric supply for the 6 months that it will take staff to come up with a new program to replace the functional program that we already have. So even if the plan is to start it up again and restart our municipal aggregation program 6 months from now, this is going to cause our residents to lose access to the 100% renewable power that we've said that we want, that we as a council have said is one of our policy priorities. It's going to make them lose access to the 100% renewable electric power that they expect, that we've been telling them now for several years they will be getting through our program. I think it's much more rational to give ourselves time to figure out the new program while doing a short-term extension of the existing functional program. At the last meeting, staff said that they could do this if we move forward with a 12-month fixed rate bid, and the staff at that time did not express opposition to the idea. So let's do that instead. It doesn't make any sense to me why council would instead direct staff to move forward with tearing up the program, confusing residents, and moving everybody back to non-renewable energy for 6 months. I think we should give staff time to work on the details of the new program, but we should do that by having a fixed term 12-month flat rate program. So I would make a motion to amend the motion to say the following, slightly different phrasing in the first part of the sentence, to authorize staff to move forward with a 12-month flat rate term to allow time to, and then back to the original motion, evaluate the alternative aggregation program as described as option 3 in Assistant City Administrator White's June 11th, 2020 memorandum.
Second, Alderman Davalos.
Second by Alderman Davalos, motion and a second to make an amendment to the motion. We do a roll call for that then? John, is that a roll? Yeah. motion to amend.
Do you want to have discussion on the motion?
You could
Yes.
just do that. Probably want to do a roll call because
Yes.
because of the.
So we're gonna vote on the motion to amend first.
Oh, correct. I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry.
All right, so may I have a roll call, please, then, on the motion to amend?
Mayor, I don't know. Mayor, before the roll call vote, I don't know whether people may want to discuss that motion.
Yes, this is Alderman
This is
Davalos, and
Alderman
I seconded the motion to have discussion. So I definitely want discussion. I
Okay,
need
all
some.
right, so let's do discussion then before we have the vote. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll begin then with Alderman Ashour.
I guess the question is, does the motion cause an increase in the amount that the residents are going to pay while they're waiting for us to figure out a different choice?
Okay, Assistant City Administrator White.
Thank you. The direction this evening that we'd be looking for from the City Council would be to go back to NIMIC, our consultant, and get a bid list of the rates. Those electric aggregation rates change daily, so we would need to have them bring us rates so that we can identify which vendor we would want to go with. It's not an extension of the current contract. And I would ask City Attorney Lunneman to add to that if she felt that was not correct, but I believe the way that our governance and operations plan is written, we have to go out to bid on the rates. That's what we've done with the program. That's what NIMIC has always done for us. So I don't think we can just extend the current contract. We'd have to look into that.
Okay, City Attorney Lemon, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That it would need to be, we can't just renew the contract. It needs to be bid out.
Okay, and that complication what would be the result of that complication then?
So with the initial bid that was included with the backup of the material from the last meeting, the current aggregation rates are higher than the ComEd rates currently. So a fixed rate contract would likely be at a higher rate, to answer Alderman Ashour's question. Without knowing for certain what the new rates would come in as when we bid those rates out, all we can do is base it on the information we had from the last packet, which was the most recent rates we received, and the rates were higher with the aggregation companies to do a fixed rate bid.
Okay, so
Alderman Goodman once more, but just a slight correction. They were lower than what they are now.
Correct. They're lower than the current aggregation contract we have with Dynegy, but higher than the current ComEd supply rates.
Okay. The motion as amended then, is that something that we can't do? Is that what I'm understanding? We can't do that without going out to bid, which will take how much time?
I think the motion would have to be amended to say authorize staff to bring back electric aggregation bids under the current program and evaluate the alternate program simultaneously, which is the rest of the motion. Brooke, is that correct?
I can restate the language if you like. I think that's fine under what I said. I said to move forward with a 12-month flat rate term to allow time. So however you achieve that moving forward, if that's going out for bid, then that's what that is.
Okay.
I think the concern is just that we just want to phrase it so that we're not approving the 12-year contract without knowing what the price is. I think that's Christina's concern. So we would come back again with the new rate and then approve the 12-month extension if that's, because right now we can't tell the city what the rate will be. I don't know what the time frame is for getting those new rates. I don't know, Christina, if you know that.
It is likely that I could have rates for the next council meeting to review.
Okay.
All right, perhaps back to Alderman Goodman, would you like to restate the motion so everyone knows exactly where we're at this point?
I could say move forward with getting bids for a 12-month flat rate term to allow time and so on. Does that address your concerns, Assistant Administrator White?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Let's keep moving then. I forget, did I start with Alderman Ashour? Yes. Alderman Ashour, do you have any additional questions or comments?
Not at this time. Sounds like we're going to it's basically going to be tabled until next council meeting. Am I understanding that right?
That sounds about right. Yeah, that's pretty close to what's gonna happen, yes.
Yeah, let's see what the information brings.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Berry, any comments or questions?
Yes, I had spoken to Assistant City Administrator Christina White earlier and today, and the contract that we have at the moment doesn't even expire till October. So letters did not have to be sent out immediately. Therefore, we wouldn't be confusing our residents as to what it was that they were paying. If we can get this done somehow in the next several months before this October deadline with the expiration of the contract, we would only have to be sending basically one letter out saying that we had canceled whatever we're using now, and then this is the new contract. If I'm understanding that correctly, Christina, could you explain that a little bit better?
Yes, so the current contract with Dynegy expires in October. The direction at the last meeting was to evaluate the alternative aggregation program and review whether or not changes needed to be made to our plan of governance and operations. At that time, once we know the process to move forward with the alternative aggregation program, we would come back to the council with information outlining that process and a deadline or a timeline that would follow depending on whether there were public hearings involved. And then we would be able to be more informed and give the council a better recommendation in terms of the timeline to move forward with the aggregate, the alternative aggregate program, or decide to do a fixed rate contract again like we've been doing. But the direction and the motion at the last meeting was to provide staff with that direction to move forward with evaluating the program. And that may mean, depending on the timing, that the current contract would expire in October and there might be a lapse in the program.
Okay, so a decision to send letters out will not happen until after the next council meeting.
Correct. The letters wouldn't go out until we get closer to the October deadline of the end of the program. And NIMAC always sends those letters to the city to review before they get issued to the public. So we would have an opportunity to provide some additional context about if the city was suspending not really suspending the program, because we're not suspending the program, but allowing the contract to expire. We would be able to include some additional information that we're evaluating alternatives, and we would be sending out additional information once we had it available.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Berry, any additional questions or comments?
So essentially, we have more time. We don't have to do this tonight. We can actually wait and get more information before we make a decision. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Alderman Bevere, any questions or comments?
No questions or comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Davalos?
Yes, I'm just remembering back to the last meeting we talked about this, and it's always been a balance between the renewable energy and the cost. And I'm one of those people that looks at my bill and realize that I'm paying more than I would at ComEd, but because the renewable energy is important, then I just move on to the next bill, you know. But it is a balance. I mean, I think I'm concerned about both, to be honest. And I sort of thought this third alternative addressed that we would have more of a rate that was either with ComEd or maybe a little lower plus the renewable energy. I mean, in short, in summary. So I don't have a problem with the letters. I think whenever they go out, I think we can explain what we're doing, because I think people are concerned not only about renewable, but about cost. And this is what this effort's going into now, to try to address both of those in a way that makes sense to residents. So, so the bottom line is, I guess I'm not sure, I'm not clear, even though we've talked about it and I don't have to get into it, why we wouldn't go with our current plan. Because maybe we can get it done in October, and maybe there will be a few months that we're with ComEd, I guess. But in the end, if we get this new plan that's being proposed and that we sort of voted on, option 3 last time, I just don't want to make a lot more work for staff that maybe doesn't have to happen. Thank you. Maybe staff could comment on that. Christina, is there?
Sure.
Do you have a sense?
Christina?
Yeah, so we are evaluating the program and the alternative program, and Alderman Davalos is correct that with that program, the rate would be the same as the ComEd rate. It wouldn't be lower and it wouldn't be higher, it would just be the same rate as whatever the current ComEd supply rate is. And it is 100% renewable energy, or that's an option just like our current program. The challenge is if the council would like to move forward potentially with a fixed rate contract like we have now, there is a timeliness to getting all the notices out. So we would have to notify NIMEC if that's something we want to do in order for them to do the work on their end to get all those notices out, make the changes, get the contracts approved and issued before the current contract with Dynegy expires in October, to not have that lapse in a contract in the renewable energy and the supply. So I think that if this is something that the council agrees they would like more information on, I think the direction of getting the rates from NIMEC on a fixed rate contract to review at the next meeting. We can try to have some additional information about the alternate program, but at least we can decide if there's a desire to move forward with a shorter term contract that will allow us more time then to look at this alternative program without a lapse in the current fixed rate contract or agreement.
Okay, and the next meeting is soon enough to make that decision.
Yes, I believe I can have the rates from NIMEC by the next city council meeting.
Great.
So we aren't going to lose any ground here. It looks to me like we're losing ground on it time-wise, but maybe you're saying that's not the case.
Time-wise, we're still okay.
Yeah, I think we can still make it work timing-wise. We would probably need a decision by the next council meeting if the council wanted to enter into a fixed rate contract and not lose any time with that October expiration of the current contract.
Okay.
But is option 3 a fixed rate contract?
No.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different, it's a slightly alternative version of the aggregation program.
So if we vote no on this amendment, then if I vote no on this amendment, then I'm sort of saying I don't want to go with a fixed rate. I'd rather, what's the criteria for the fixed rate? You had said it's the same as ComEd's and not lower, but does it move up and down?
Okay, so the fixed rate contract structure follows what we have now. You lock into a specific rate with a third-party supply company. Once you've locked into that rate, that's your rate for the term of the contract, regardless of how it compares to the ComEd rate. So our rate may be lower. In history, it was often lower than the ComEd supply rate. Over the last couple of years, it's been a little higher than the ComEd supply rate. But you're locked into a fixed rate with that contract for the term of the contract. That's our current structure. That's what a fixed rate contract is. The alternative program, option 3, that was on the agenda for consideration, that is the one that would lock in with the ComEd rate, and it would never be higher or lower than the ComEd rate.
Thank you.
Additional comments, Alderman Davalos?
And that's what staff is recommending, correct? Because we voted on it. I mean, we told staff to look at it, and has staff made a recommendation? I'm assuming that's why it's on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, so the council direction at the last meeting was moving forward with the option number 3. Quite frankly, from staff's perspective, either of these options, whether we review a flat rate contract again and look at those rates and come back at the next meeting and then continue to move forward with option 3, I don't have any objection to doing that. I don't think it will take a lot of time, and I think NIMEC can put that together pretty quickly for us in time for the next meeting, so the council has more information and can make a more informed decision of what they want to do moving forward.
So we would have 2 clear choices at that point.
Yes, and the option could still be that we continue with a fixed rate contract for a shorter period of time while still evaluating the alternative program in time for the next expiration, and then we won't be going through this period of time where there might be a lapse because we will have all the information and research and review of the plan and of operations and governance, and we'll know exactly what changes may need to be made if we adopt the alternative aggregation program.
So voting yes on this amendment would get us to that point.
Yes, we would still be evaluating.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Goodman, additional comments?
I think that Assistant City Administrator White has done an admirable job of summarizing it, and I think more information will be a good thing at the next meeting.
Great, thank you. Alderman Criswell?
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Weiner?
Yeah, I'd like to see more information at the next meeting. I think that's a good idea. And I remember the last contract that we entered into, there was a chart that showed the specific energy sources that were being tapped or used in the contract. And I think there were percentages of what use or what amount they were drawing from in the contract. And then what was lacking, I think it was exactly like a definition of what exactly renewable means, because I think it sounds really good, but I'm not sure exactly what the term renewable means when it comes to, for instance, example that was listed was coal. And I guess I would just like to see more definition of what renewable means so that we can explain it better to our residents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. And finally, Alderman Wilson? Alderman Wilson?
Hello, yeah, I'm sorry, the microphone was off. I forgot to turn it on. Now, I get my bottom line is the question as to hearing the discussion, are we going to vote down this change to that amendment or accept it? And it seems to me that I've heard both comments that if we just vote for it as it was presented to begin without the change, then we're better off in the long run to do it that way, as opposed to we can still do what we need to do between now and October. So that's the way I read both comments, pros and cons on it, so far as my vote as to whether or not we change this E or not. And if you can brighten me up on that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go back to Assistant City Administrator White to give us the nuances of don't make the amendment. What exactly would that mean?
Okay, so the original motion without the amendment would only require or ask for staff to work with the city attorney and evaluate the alternative aggregation program option, which may or may not be accomplished in time to implement that program before the October expiration of the current contract. If we're not able to get everything completed in time to implement that alternative program, our current contract with Dynegy would expire and we would not have a electric aggregation supply contract in place. The amendment to the motion would have us go back to NIMEC, get additional bid pricing, updated bid pricing for a fixed rate contract for a 12-month period. The council could decide at the next meeting if they wanted to pursue that 12-month contract. During that time, we would still continue to evaluate the alternative aggregation program option, but we would have an ongoing contract with a third-party supply past the October date. It would go from October of this year through probably September of the following year.
Okay, so that the amendment will give you the opportunity to provide more information to the council and another option. And should that not be something that the council is interested in, they could still vote to go back to the original motion for tonight at the next council meeting. So we're not precluding doing what the original motion asked for. We are just giving more information to the people that have to make the decision and deferring the decision to the next meeting.
Correct.
Is that clear?
Thank you very much. Now I know which way I'm going to vote. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Alderman. Okay, I think everyone's had a chance to weigh in on the amendment to the motion. So the vote now will be on the amendment to the motion that was presented. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Berry.
Alderman Berry? Uh-oh.
Maybe come back to her.
Shut off again. There she is.
Okay,
Alderman Berry?
sorry, I'm
Yay?
back. I'm back.
Okay, we're voting on the amendment to the motion. Yay or nay?
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're voting on the second amendment.
The amendment to the motion, yes.
Nay.
Voting now. I'm sorry?
Right. Nay.
Nay, okay.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Preschel.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Bevere.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. So our original motion now has been amended, and we need to vote on the original motion, then, right? As amended. Let's make sure there's no additional discussion. Let me go through the Alderman again to make sure that we've got everything clear. Any additional comments or questions? Alderman Ashour?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Berry?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Bevere?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Davalos?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Goodman?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Krischel?
No comment.
Thank you. Alderman Widener?
No comment.
And Alderman Wilson?
No comment.
Thank you all. Then we'll have a roll call, please.
Alderman Berry. Alderman Berry.
Just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry, my system is very slow today. Aye.
Okay?
I'm sorry, did you say aye?
Yes.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Preschel.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Bevere.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on then to regular agenda. We have nothing listed there. We have nothing under unfinished business. We have no new business to discuss, but we do have the need for a closed session this evening. So Alderman Berry, would you like to make the motion with the citation, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120/2, parens 2, the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Second, Alderman Bevere.
Motion and a second. If we will call them, please.
Alderman Preschel.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Bevere.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Motion carries. Administrator Copley, a comment before we move?
Okay. We are moving into the other room for closed session, correct? Okay. Gentlemen in the audience, please, if you're going to stay, that's fine, but if you're leaving, Please use the emergency exit because I see they just mopped the floor in the lobby. I'm not sure it's really safe to walk through right now, so. Now you've been warned. Thank you.
Okay. We are now entering closed session. We will not conduct any business after the closed session. If anyone wishing to stay on the call may do so until the meeting has officially ended. So thank you for your attention. If you're on your way, we are going into executive session.
You got it. Last one here. Oh, yeah. No more.
Okay, we've had a motion to adjourn, so we're ready to adjourn the meeting. Is anyone still on the call? Very good. We are adjourned by consensus of the City Council. Thank you.